Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees, the podcast. Well, the Yankees done it to themselves really good this time. Actually, a historically bad loss. So for Yankees were 167-0 franchise history when leading in the ninth inning by 2 runs or more. Of course, blow that last night in stunning fashion. Lose Game 3 to the Cleveland Guardians, and now at the brink of having this season ended. The Yankees again blowing a 5-3 lead, lose 6-5, and again lose the lead in this divisional series, 2-1, and again are at the brink of being eliminated. So I'm going to go over this game really quick. Before we do, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Hopefully a little bit more Yankee baseball last, but of course, we'll be focusing on the rest of the postseason and off season as well. So Yankees after disappointing loss Game 2, but even though the Yankees lost the game, you still felt they were controlling the pacing and the momentum of the game. Even for the bulk of this, Game 3 as well, it just seemed like the Yankees still dictated the tempo. But they definitely lost it in the ninth inning of Game 3, and now again at the really eating out of the hands of the Cleveland Guardians, who just seemed to single you to death, basically foul off pitches and stuff, versus kind of the Yankees just scoring basically on home runs and nothing. So, and this is kind of interesting. Maybe it's just the year of the upsets. Obviously, we saw San Diego upset LA Dodgers last night. You got the Phillies upsetting the Atlanta Braves. So again, divisional winners now getting knocked out. And even though, yes, Cleveland is a divisional winner themselves, the Yankees were definitely favored in this series. And now it looks like there's a good chance they might get knocked out. Now, I think good news, bad news. I think the good news that still, you have Cole on the mound for Game 4, and I could very well see Cole having a good game, and the Yankees, so the Yankee bats did come alive a little bit in this Game 3, so that's, some good news you take out of it via they're all home runs, but nevertheless, finally making, some good contact on some of these Cleveland pitches that were just, tough on the Yankees, especially during Game 2. But again, Yankees could win Game 4. They got to even see the Yankees winning Game 5. But now the biggest problem is this, as I mentioned before, is this bullpen. So even if you get by Cleveland, how is this Yankee team beating the Houston Astros? There's no way. This is the Astros team that we saw blank the Seattle Mariners in their own ballpark for 18 innings yesterday before eventually getting a walk. It was a go-ahead home run, and of course they were able to finish close them out in the bottom of the 18th inning there. So how's this Yankee team going to be able to hold off those Houston hitters with this bullpen right now, which, I'm not going to complain about Loaizaga. He's been good. He's been doing his job. Peralta's been good. He's been fine. I don't blame any Peralta. And I don't even blame Clarke Schmidt for last night. The problem is they don't have a consistent closer. Now, it turns out that Holmes could have been available, but they just, Boone decided, Boone and Cashman, I'm sure, is an organizational decision. They didn't want to use him for 2 games in a row, complaining of soreness. Well, this is the postseason. This is everything. So if this guy's not reliable now, he can't go, then this team doesn't even have a closer. So again, even if they get by Cleveland, which is still a possibility, how they beating Houston now? It's not happening. So we'll go to this game. So with Severino on the mound versus Tristan McKenzie. And for Severino, look, it's been almost 2 weeks since he last pitched, and it did kind of show early in this game. Now, it was a good performance by him. He did eventually find it. But again, I think the layoff did have some ramifications on him because he did get touched up in the first and second inning there. And it was an opportunity where possibly looked like he might even implode, and it's the Guardians, so I slipped up there, could have maybe put the Yankees and put Severino away early, but Severino did buckle down and was during the middle and towards the end part of the game was very strong. I almost figured maybe if you kept him in there a little bit longer, but of course, they weren't going to push him with the pitch count there. So in the first inning, Stephen Kwan, who just killed the Yankees in this game and really has been a really thorn on the Yankees side this entire series, leads off the game with a double. Now Severino would strike out the next batter, Rosario, but then Ramirez with a single. So put runners at first and third at that point. Now, opportunity here, Josh Naylor up, tough lefty. Now, he was DH in this game because, remember, last game, running down to first base, kind of hurt his foot there, trying to beat out a ground ball, which he did, thanks to a throwing error. But nevertheless, hobbled with a bad foot, so he was relegated to DH duties, but he's one of Cleveland's, at least home run threats against the righty Severino, so you understand why he's in the lineup. Hit it kind of a little bit flat towards the shortstop hole, and it seemed like, kind of Fleffer, and I'm sure people are going to be killing him today. It looked like he was caught in between of, should I let this ball drop and go for a double play, or should I just grab it and get the line out? And, obviously at that point, you're not going to get a double play, but at least there's 2 outs and nobody scores. Said he kind of just got caught in between. The ball drops in, and Kwan's able to easily score from first base. So again, this seemed like kind of Fleff was kind of caught what he wasn't sure he wanted to do. Let it drop in and then go for a double play, or just let me catch it. And he did neither. So Cleveland at that point would go up 1-0, but nevertheless, Severino would get out of that jam only, escaping only with the one run. And his pitch count at that point was almost up to 30. So again, it looked like it was going to be a short night for Severino, but it would not be the case. And then in the second inning, didn't really get that much better for Severino. Give a leadoff double to Arias, and then Kwan, again, that pain in the neck would drive him in on an RBI single. Put the Guardians up at that point 2-0. And again, had some runners on with threatening to do more, but Severino, again, was able to get out of it, battle, those first 2 innings. And then pretty much from there, Severino cruised along. He finally found it. And again, I think the long layoff had something to do with it. Again, remember last time we saw him was in Texas. He had 7 no-hit innings, and Boone took him out there, and Severino wasn't happy. But again, that was the right move by Boone. And in this game, since Higgy was the catcher for the game, decided to give Higgy the start in this game, which I thought was the right move. And plus, with the bat, Higgy was hitting the ball much better than Trevino. Unfortunately, Trevino during his postseason haven't given the Yankees much offensively. So I understand putting Higgy in this game, and I like the Yankees juggle the lineup a little bit, move Judge down to this second place hitter. I'm not saying Gleyber Torres is your ideal leadoff hitter, but again, I'm kind of mixed feelings on the whole Judge leadoff thing. I just think because once you get him out, I think just psychologically the other pitcher just feels, oh my God, I got Judge out, great. Now I can just chill and cruise along the rest of this lineup. When you have Judge more in the middle of the lineup, it's kind of like, I'm sure the opposing pitcher is kind of looking at on deck circle, and you see him, taking some practice swings. And I think psychologically, it just haunts the pitcher's mind a little bit to know that Judge is coming up there. So again, mixed feelings on him having to lead it off, but at least this game, Boone just want to switch things up a little bit, dropped him to second place, and then Peralta dropped him down in the lineup as well. I mean, and you haven't seen the first 2 games, not seen much from him other than swing and misses, so Boone decided to drop him down to the ninth hole as well. Now, last episode, I kind of mentioned maybe you want to kick the tires on Aaron Hicks there for left field. Again, I'm okay still sticking with Peralta, but again, he was swinging a lot out of the zone and and in some big spots. So again, I would have been shocked or surprised if they would have given Hicks a nod in Game 3, but nevertheless went with Peralta, and that would pay off eventually. And of course, the Yankees would get on the board in the third inning with that same Cabrera, so he would get on with a double. And then Tristan McKenzie, who at that point it seemed like he was cruising along, gave up a 2-run home run to Aaron Judge. So Judge, who's, again, having a terrible first 2 games, even hearing some boos at the end of Game 2 at Yankee Stadium, struck out his first at bat, and you figure, this guy's just completely, just out of it. But able to, finally get an inside pitch. It wasn't really a terrible pitch, but, hats off to Judge to kind of putting a good swing on it up and in, and to get it over there to center field wall. So again, at that point, tying the game up 2-2. And then, but more importantly, at that point, Severino finally settled in. Even had a good stretch there where he retired almost 10 batters in a row. And then the Yankees would eventually go ahead in the 5th inning. Beta would get on with a single up the middle there, but a bit of a seeing eye single. And then that same Peralta who doubled earlier, again, who moved down to the 9th hitting spot there, would pay off the Yankees finally. 2-run home run, a nice bomb to right center field. And just a little note about that with Peralta. I mean, I know we're in the whole new thing now is to flip the bat after a home run, but it's he's sitting there posing, staring at it. It's look, I like Peralta, but you're not Ken Griffey Jr., you're not Reggie Jackson. All right, you were called up in September. Then I mean, he's very good, he's productive, fine like that, but don't be posing like that. It's he's standing there with the bat a little bit for a few seconds and he throws it, man. I mean, I got to show a little bit more class than that. So that's my little knock on Peralta there. Even though the Yankees were ahead at that point, not really too happy with Peralta in that spot there. Again, why you want to egg on the other team like that? Not that they need any more motivation, but I just thought it was a little classless by Peralta to do that. Just put your head down a little bit. I don't know, maybe if you're around a season or 2, then maybe you can start posing and stuff with home runs. But you just been up here for a cup of coffee. But nevertheless, now eventually Severino would lose a little steam, and it really wasn't his fault. So again, he was cruising along, had 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th there. And then Andres Jimenez, again, had a little ground ball to shortstop. Now, it should be a play that kind of Fleffer should make, but he kind of had to go across his body a little bit to make the throw, and the throw was a little late. So you had Jimenez reach. If that, Severino would give up a single to Arias again, who again he gave up that earlier. So now he had a situation on runners in 1st and 3rd. Again, at this point, Severino was up to 106 pitches, which it was most pitches he'd thrown since 2019. So obviously, coming off the Tommy John surgery and all these other injuries, Severino's had the past 3 seasons. Decided to take him out at that point. I think you could have let him finish the 6th. But still, nevertheless, I can understand why they wanted to baby him there. So they ended up bringing in Lou Trevino. Tito Francona countered with a pinch hitter, Brennan. First pitch was a ball way outside. The next Trevino throws one high and tight. Brennan kind of makes a defensive swing. So you got this guy defenses on you on the fastball. So instead of jamming with another 96 mile per hour fastball inside, throws a little breaking ball across the plate. had no spin on it, and Brandon able to put a good swing on it. Drives in Jimenez at that point, and it cuts the Yankee lead down to 4-3. And then after that, Marcus Stroh would come up and hit a line shot towards second base. And for a second, it seemed like it was going to go in the center field for another hit and would have maybe possibly tied the game. But nevertheless, Gleyber Torres was able to snag the fly ball there. But it was hit well. And again, Trevino, I don't think you want to see him ever out there again in a big jam. I mean, it just, again, he has good stuff, but I don't know what the pitch selection there was terrible. I don't know if you want to blame Higgy for that. You want to blame the bench. But luckily, Trevino able to get out of that jam there and just hold the Guardians down to a 4-3 lead. And then in seventh, the Yankees end up adding a little insurance run. So Harrison Beta, who kind of got the Yankees on the board in game one with a big home run to tie the game there, adds another big bomb off the lefty. Henkes, kind of tall, lanky lefty there, crushed the ball to left field. Solo home run, gives the Yankees an insurance run 5-3 there. And if the Yankees up 2 runs, you still want one more at least. Just again on the road, big game, playoff game. Again, those it's not. You knew it was going to be easy, so yeah, you feel good about it. But still, I would have it'd been nice for the Yankees to go. I'm like 6-3 or 7-3. That's where you feel good. You still feel 5-3, especially with the way the Yankees bullpen could be a little shorthanded. Again, that showed it's reared its nasty head, whatever the expression is, in game 2 there, having to go to Jameson Tyone. Yankee bats needed to add just maybe 1 or 2 more. That would have put it away, but nevertheless, that would not be the case. So Boone from there went to Loaiza and then Peralta. So that's the same formula uses game 1 and 2, and I was okay. And Peralta was actually cruising along, got the last out in the 7th, had a pretty easy 8th, and then this is going to be the controversy now. Now supposedly, and this is Holmes. Now Boone, did not want to use him in this game at all and said only in an emergency situation. Now the only crazy part is that the only person who didn't know about this was Clay Holmes. He assumed he was going to get the call in the 9th inning. So pretty much the entire bullpen supposedly was shocked when they called up Clarke Schmidt number to come out to relieve Peralta there. So even Holmes didn't know he wasn't available. So seems to be a really miscommunication stuff. And then you heard during the broadcast, if you listen to Bob Costas and Ron Darling, telling the story how even Severino wasn't happy that he was put on the 60-day IL during the regular towards the end of the season with his injuries. He felt that was a little bit overkill, and now this might be overkill of the babying of Holmes, who only threw 16 pitches in game 2. And, and actually one of the strikeouts he actually looked as good as he probably had been in quite a while. So you got a case where even Holmes thought he was ready to go, and Boone said no, and even Holmes didn't know about this. So a little miscommunication there. And again, this is a game that, frankly, Boone and Cashman just gave it away by not going with Holmes. I don't know if Holmes would have gotten the job done, but you can't put Clarke Schmidt, a 26-year-old rookie, in that spot like that. And again, I don't even blame Clarke Schmidt for it. I mean, I think he was decent enough, but that's just way out of what he's ever done for, before in the stage, in the Yankee uniform, in the playoffs and all that jazz. I know he came up with the Yankee system, but still, it's just you're putting him in a spot in a situation he's never even done before. And I just thought it was a bad move. And the whole thing it's a real mess. And again, if the Yankees do end up losing the series, they can look at that game 3 and that decision not to go with Holmes as the nail in the coffin. But again, the bigger issue is that the Yankees don't have a long bullpen. They don't have a good bullpen, and they don't have a championship bullpen, and they don't have a championship type closer that you can rely on for these games. And that's, again, even if they get past this series against Cleveland, there's no way they're going to be able to hold down the Houston Astros late in games, especially on the road. Forget about that. But nevertheless, let's just go to the details of the game. So Peralta did get the first out in the 9th, and I got to understand Boone wanted to stick with him to finish it out. Especially you have Quan coming up there, so you want that lefty on lefty matchup there. So again, I had no problem Boone at that point sticking with Peralta the rest of the way. But then ended up giving up a little bloop fly to Marcus Stroh. And again, not Peralta's fault. It's just a bad luck for the Yankees. Kind of dropped in between shortstop and left field. Cabrera running in there. And since the ball kind of bounced around a little bit out there in the outfield, able to Stroh to go to second base. But you still figure, all right, I've got the 5-3 lead. It's 1 out. Still win this game. But after that, that's when Boone made his decision. Again, we all assumed that Clay Holmes was coming out. But then when you see that, the bullpen door was struggling a little bit. Like, what's going on here? What's going on? You actually see Clarke Schmidt come out, number 86. You're like, oh my, what? And now you're just totally surprised. And at that point, even though the Yankees were up, 5-3, once I saw him coming out, I figured, oh, they're going to lose this game. You just saw all the momentum swing. Their eyes must have been lighting up. Hey, Schmidt's coming out. Good, great. Their hitters must have got energized from that and showed from the start. First batter he faced Rosario, gets a single through, able to score Stroh. So now at this point, you have runners at first and third. Stroh scores, cuts the lead down to 5-4. And after that, you have Jose Ramirez up. He hits a little flare. Now it kind of drops in between I'll say between the infield and outfield, little grass there, and center field, shortstop hole there. So kind of just bounced in. So it wasn't enough for any runners to score. But now you look at a situation with bases loaded, only one out, and the dangerous Josh Naylor up. Now, yes, he's a little hobbled, but still lefty power bat against Schmidt. You'd like this matchup for the Guardians. But shockingly, Schmidt buckled down a little bit, was able to get a big strikeout of Naylor. So now at this point, you're thinking, hey, wait, is he going to get out of this? Maybe, just maybe, Schmidt's going to come up, he'll hit the upset and get out of this jam. But nevertheless, next batter up, Oscar Gonzalez. And look, to Schmidt's credit, he went after him. And actually was ahead in the count 1-2. And he did what I thought he should do. I mean, Gonzalez was fouling off a lot of pitches low and away. So I would say keep going there and try to maybe just have one a little outside to get him to swing and miss. So I think Schmidt made the right choice there. And Gonzalez was just able to get enough barrel on the bat on it. Hits the ball right up the middle, just like inches away from Schmidt. Schmidt kind of turned his body around, maybe tried to block the ball with his body, which, again, he could have knocked it down and thrown the ball to either home plate or first base to get the out and finish the game. But nevertheless, the ball finds its way through the infield hole up the middle there. And, of course, the tying and then winning runs able to come in and score. And Cleveland wins the game 6-5. And again, the Yankees blowing it in big fashion. And now, again, are at the mercy of possibly getting eliminated in Game 4. So that's the story there. And again, the story is going to be that the mystery of why Clay Holmes wasn't in that game. That's going to be the big question. Again, if the Yankees lose, and again, that's going to be on Boone and Cashman, of course, because that's an organizational decision there. So bad loss for the Yankees. Again, Boone is handing it over to Cleveland. So I don't know how you want to read it. You could read it that the Yankees just have faith that they read the situation that, hey, look, we feel like a Cole could go out there in Game 4 and definitely bring this back to New York. And they're almost willing to sacrifice the game to not really burn out Holmes. I don't know, you can look at it that way. Or maybe they just feel, hey, look, we trust our guys. We trust Clarke Schmidt, and he's going to get it done, and that's it. So, again, very, very ugly loss for the Yankees. Again, they were 167-0 franchise history record-wise in the playoffs when going into the ninth inning with a 2-run or more lead, and they basically put a kibosh to that. So, thanks for the great Yankee history on that one. And Severino, again, was in line to get the win for this one. Gutted out, pitched 5 2/3 inning. Did get 8 hits, but again, a lot of that was early on in the first couple of innings where, again, they probably looked like he was trying to find it. 3 earned runs to his credit. Again, the single by the Trevino gave up. Again, that was credited to Severino. So he ends up getting 3 earned runs attributed to his name with 6 strikeouts, no walks. Again, on 106 pitches. Again, the most he's thrown in like 3 years there. And again, really ugly loss for the Yankees. Again, they were in cruise control, 5-3 there. Had everything going for them. Loizaga looked good. Peralta looked good. You had a little bit bad luck there with, that Marcus Stroh, little bloop to left field there falling in there. But again, it's a game the Yankees should have won. Same thing as Game 2. The Yankees kind of should have won Game 2 there. And now you see the pacing and everything totally shifted towards Cleveland in that ninth inning there as they kind of even with Schmidt with a 2-run lead, him coming out, I think you just felt the loss coming. You knew it. And that reared its ugly head there. So here we go. So it's a match. So it's going to be a rematch now, Game 4. Again, Garrett Cole versus Cal Quantrill. Again, Yankees were able to win that Game 1. Cole had a good performance. So I could see Cole winning this game easily and then bringing them back to New York. And then from there, it's all hands on deck. And I can even see possibly the Yankees winning Game 5 at Yankee Stadium. But again, how they get past the Houston Astros if they're barely able to get past this Cleveland team, which is, again, you could clearly see how the Yankees are. I mean, Cleveland has to fight so hard to get one run. They need like 3 singles in an error to get a run. The Yankees are one swing of the bat get 2 runs. And Bob Costas pointed out, out of the 11 runs they've scored so far in this postseason, 10 of them came via the home run, and this one from the Jose Trevino sacrifice fly in Game 1. That's it. So all the Yankees runs been home runs. So you just see how the Yankees, again, in that aspect, are superior to them. They should not be struggling, but nevertheless, got to give Cleveland credit. They scrap, especially players like Quan, for example. He had a little opposite field hit. Yeah, again, it wasn't really a bad pitch by Peralta there, but just, Quan went with it outside and away, and he kind of just served it into left field. So I don't blame Peralta on that. It's just a good piece of hitting by Quan, and it's bad luck for the batter before him. Sure, again, to get that little bloop to fall in there. So again, the Yankees are going to have to, find a way to win this Game 4, which I think is possible. And then again, Game 5, it's going to be all hands on deck. But again, this is going to be no off days. So you're going to need Loizaga again. You're going to need Peralta again. And I guess, since he had a day off, you would assume Holmes available for Game 4. So that's good news there. So ugly loss for the Yankees. Possibly the season might end, but I could still see this game going to the series going to a Game 5. So hopefully, there's a few more in-season podcasts left to go. So if you haven't subscribed to this podcast, make sure you do. We'll be back for the end of Game 4. Again, hopefully better news than we had at the end of Game 3.